All right, let's see if you guys can find me. I'm here. I'm dealing with this again. Bear with me. Tick tock, tick tock. I'm just going to wait for you guys to come on in. So, okay, once you guys are finding me good, 5x5. I'm going to have to do this way from now on because YouTube's got some sort of problem as per normal. Hang on, I'm just waiting for the last setup on the computer here so other people can find me. There we go, saved. And we're live and good. Okay. Same thing has happened as last Saturday. It came across horizontal. That was great, but it lasted 10 seconds and then it crashes. So I don't know what the deal is, if their app isn't working or whatever, because as you guys know, I use my phone so I can do it to make it real interesting when I have giveaways, because I need the app to do that so I can show you the screen. We'll figure out how that works. I don't know. We'll get something going, but just frustrating. I know it's frustrating for you guys too, but I think we're all getting used to it here, that they're just incompetent. All right. So happy Tuesday night as we jug on through, getting ready for this hurricane. We had some storms whip through here today. Mid-afternoon. And I mean, not hurricane like, but I mean, it was coming down and the wind was blowing and the rain was sideways. That lasted about 45 minutes and it was going hard of puddles in the yard. But I think a lot of that might have to do with the fact that it's been so freaking dry here that the ground is like concrete. So, it just wasn't soaking in. You need that soft rain to moisten the ground. Crazy. So, yeah, that was it. No, I noticed a couple of you guys talking about the UN talks and what they're deciding, where, again, it's the same crap of, we want to control all the governments in the world. You guys, people wonder why I don't talk about it. It's real simple. It's unconstitutional. The UN has no authority in the United States. The rest of the countries in the world can say, oh, okay, fine. You know what? You decided you're going to take over. Great. Ain't happening in the U.S. because our little constitution says they can't. Okay. Now, whether we have politicians, especially one cackling hen who wants to give up our sovereignty to a globalist entity, that's one thing. But at this point, I'm not overly concerned about what the UN says. The UN can go suck whatever they want to suck on. So that's why I'm not talking about that. The interesting piece of news that came out today was George Soros buying, it's like 150 radio stations or something. And I mean, you guys understand that, you have all these radio stations. It's not like the old days, WKRP in Cincinnati where, some family owned the radio station. Most of them are part of these huge conglomerates that own, tons and tons and tons of radio stations, no different than like newspapers, Gannett Group or something. The New York Times is not independent. The same company owns the Chicago Tribune. The same company owns the LA Times, yada, yada, yada. But it's just interesting how crooked that looks. I mean, everybody knows that George Soros is, a communist, globalist, Democrat sympathizer. And all of a sudden, 2 months before an election, he wants to buy all these radio stations. And the FCC says, well, you know what? We're just going to bypass all the normal things that we do to, confirm, and we'll just let him do it. So great. And very shortly, we will have all these programming changes where they're going to go, oh, you have conservative talk radio? That show's canceled. I mean, not that Rush Limbaugh is with us anymore, but there's plenty of, Steve Deese, for one. You know, if I was Steve Deese, I'd be kind of worried about whether or not he's got a job here pretty quick. But depending on what radio stations that he's played on, but you know, he's in syndication. I know that. It's funny. I actually worked with his sister-in-law back when I was up in Indiana. She was in Michigan. We were good friends. Never met Steve, but it's one of the ways I know of him. But yeah, so you know, the crookedness is on. If you saw the story out of Michigan today, this is kind of interesting. The ballots that are being sent to people, you know, that requested mail-in ballots are pre-filled in, marking all the Democrat candidates already. Isn't that convenient? Here, you don't even need to fill out your ballot. Just send it back to us. We've already decided who you're going to vote for. Yeah, and there's already somebody that's got arrested for it. So we'll see what happens. But yes, this is kind of the crazy crap that is going on here. There we go. Now it's big enough I can see. So yeah, just I'm paying attention to a lot of this, but the big things I was, like I said this morning when I got up, you know, the tropical storm is turning into a hurricane. Everybody's getting ready for that. That was important because, you know, we hadn't heard about this maybe 2 days ago, you know, starting to get in the news yesterday. And then this morning it's like, okay, it's going to be a Cat 3, maybe a Cat 4 hitting Florida. And this is where it's going. And you're like, crap. Okay. So that was kind of important just in case people missed that one. And then, of course, all the Washington Post article that came out that I wanted to show you guys and kind of analyze that one a little bit about what's going on. So, yeah, it's important for all of us to pay attention to this stuff. Sure, it's not beans and rice conversations, but, you know, as I've said and many other people have said, you got to know what's going on in order to effectively prepare for it. You know, you don't want to wake up one day and go, crap, honey, there's a hurricane on the horizon. You know, it's nice to know a little ahead of time. So, all right, let's get into some Q&A here, have a little bit of fun. And as usual, if you got questions for me, please put them in all caps. The only thing I ask, the only thing I require, I guess, if you will, is that we treat each other civilly in here, respectfully. Don't mind difference of opinion. Disagreement's fine. That's usually what makes good conversation. Just do it politely. That's it. But if you want to bitch about Kamala Harris, that's fine by me. I'm not going to complain. All right. I'm not going to argue with you either. All right. Let's see. Essential Tam, what's on the shirt? It says, believe in Jesus, the Second Amendment, and on the bottom, and fried fish. So, yes. I think one of you guys sent me this shirt one time. So, but yeah, it's nice, very nice, soft, comfortable shirt. So, thank you. Let's see. Silicon Valley, California. Hi, Pinball. I have a large tree about 20 feet tall. That's for around here. That's not a large tree. That is dripping lots of sticky goo. I think it's caused by white flies. Any idea what to do to stop all this sticky dripping? No, I don't have a clue. My guess is that it's something to do with the seasons, that you've got sap coming out of it. I mean, obviously not knowing what kind of tree it is. I mean, if it's a maple tree, hell, maybe it's syrup. But obviously you've got some sort of infestation in it somehow. Maybe the tree is rotting, or maybe bugs have got into it and there's a hole, you know, that's coming out. I don't know. The best thing I'd call a tree service and have them look at it and tell me what it is, because it might be something where the tree needs to be cut down. It might be the tree is diseased. It might be normal. I'm not a arborist, but yeah, I mean, I'd have somebody look at it. It could just be that's what this certain type of tree does in the fall. Again, I don't know what kind of tree it is, so I'm not much help. Sam Carpenter, Monkey Work said on his live tonight that he's been having a lot of trouble connecting to YouTube also. It's funny because we're on what, I think this is the 190th Tuesday live stream on this channel, plus how many I did on the backup channel. So, I mean, we've done easily over 200 Tuesday night live streams, and then add all the Saturday ones. So we're probably somewhere around 400 lives that we've done at this point since I started the channel. And I've never had it do what it's done before. You know, what it did Saturday, what it's done tonight, where it just crashes. And even on my phone, it says, YouTube keeps crashing. What do you want to do? You know, it's like see channel or close stream, or, you know, see details, and then you see the details and it just shuts down. So it's something going on with YouTube, of course. And, you know, who knows, for all you know, it's them messing with conservative channels, but I can't put any faith in that because here I am, I'm talking on the computer. Though I will ask you this, have you guys seen internet issues lately? And I mean, God knows I run enough security on my computer, you know, between virus scans and privacy cleaners and all sorts of everything, you know, like you know, try to keep your computer safe, run a VPN, go through the whole thing. But it's funny because I tried to access my bank account today and I couldn't get in. There's been like 3 or 4 websites that I've tried to get into here in the last couple of days, and the websites just don't work, you know, and then maybe a few hours later they will. But was it yesterday? I was having a hell of a time getting YouTube videos to play. And I mean, I run high-speed internet in the house. Okay. I mean, we're on fiber here, and I've got the 1 gig package or whatever it is. I mean, I should have no problem watching movies or anything, videos for sure. I mean, obviously I want to get that so we can do these live streams. If I was on dial-up, forget it, you know, or something slow. But I've noticed here in the last couple of days, the internet connection ain't as, I don't know, it's not the connection, maybe the websites all of a sudden, and maybe we're not hearing about denial of service errors or something, but I keep getting these pop-ups of 502 bad gateway. And they're like, you know, so I don't know, maybe somebody's playing around with it. Broken Dolly, you were on, it started buffering, then automatically switched to some ghost hunting video. Okay. Yeah, because that's probably when I closed the video or closed the old live stream, and then you probably got it on play next or whatever, and that was whatever was next in your recommended, you know, ghost hunting, you know, because that has a lot to, I mean, who knows? I don't know what types of videos you watch, but ghost hunting videos don't show up in my feed because I don't watch that stuff. Let's see. Cellophane. Hello, Pinball. What are your thoughts on Saab building a missile factory in Grayling, Michigan? Okay. We'll start with the first part. I didn't know Saab. I'm assuming this is the same Saab that builds cars, if they're still even in business. I don't know. Can't remember the last time I've seen a Saab on the road. So didn't know they built missiles. Maybe they got out of cars and been building missiles for all I know. Building a factory in Grayling, Michigan. Hey, fine. Okay. As long as they're building missiles for the United States. I mean, I really don't want to hear they're in building, what it was, Swedish or something like that, I think. You know, I don't want to hear they're building missiles for Sweden and they're just, you know, building them in the United States. No. You know, you're going to build armaments, it stays here. Okay. But all in all, hey, that's fine by me. Put a bunch of people in Grayling, Michigan to work. That works for me. Manufacturing, what a concept. Aaron M., thank you for your information on checking our banks to see if they're in a crisis. My local banks are a mixed bag of problems. Yeah. And the funny thing is that shouldn't surprise you, because the Biden administration has done whatever they can to crush the small and mid-sized banks. I mean, remember, we talked about this, well over a year ago at this point, is ultimately the communist Democrats want us to be down to somewhere between 2 and 6 banks. That's it. It's a lot easier for them to control the money if there's only a few places that you can keep it. And if we go to a digital currency, which they want, okay, thousands and thousands and thousands of banks, they can't keep control over. If it's 6 banks, that's easy for them to watch everything. Big brother. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Lots of local banks are struggling like that. I mean, and you think that it can't be done? Okay. How many of you have an account at a savings and loan? What happened there? The government crushed them. Same issue, bad investments. Interest rates screwed them. Fox Any, Denise Walton had a good question in the other stream. If she votes early and something happens to Trump, what happens to her vote? Good question. Okay. And I'll throw the other side of this one at you. Okay. Yeah. Let's start with the premise of your question. You vote for Trump and Vance. If Trump all of a sudden is assassinated, if he has a heart attack and dies, that's a possibility too. What happens? Honestly, I'm not sure. I would assume that J.D. Vance would automatically get those votes, okay, because it is now a 2-person ticket. Don't quote me. I'm not an election attorney or anything like that, but that would be the most logical assumption. They're not going to go, well, we'll postpone the election for 6 months until another candidate's named. And maybe it's happened, I don't know, but I don't think there's ever been any candidate that has died between the nomination and the election. I'm not sure. That could have happened in 1802 or something. Who knows? I'm not sure. The question that I have posed to people is, again, what you're saying with early voting. What's to say somebody in North Carolina and you can almost bet this has already happened because North Carolina started early voting almost 2 weeks ago, or I think it was 2 weeks ago. I think it was September 6th. Okay, so that's more than 2 weeks ago. What happens if somebody votes in North Carolina on September 10th and dies on October 3rd? Does their vote still count? Never heard an answer to that one, because election day is election day. Just because you vote early, that doesn't mean that if you're dead, your vote should still count. Never heard that question answered. I'd love to have an answer to that one. And I'd love to see how they police it because they can't count the votes correctly. Which I find absolutely amazing. But, it's funny how the IRS knows exactly who's paid their taxes by midnight on April 15th, but we can't figure out who voted for somebody. Who knows? Somebody asking about the radio stations. We talked about that. East Tennessee Mike, get ready to batten down the hatches here in East Tennessee Thursday and Friday. Oh, yeah. Actually, for us, it's more like Friday and Saturday because I'm Northeast Tennessee. But yeah, depending on who you're talking to, I've heard for us, and like I said this morning, we're 700 miles from the coast. I'm not sure. Okay. We're a while. Okay. A day's drive at least to get down to the Gulf. We're supposed to get, I've heard anywhere between 5 and 8 inches of rain. Yeah. It's going to be wet. Okay. I just says, Bob Ralph says, Bears had a similar issue with the briefs. He does a fake start, let it crash and goes live. I don't know, just saying. Yeah, I tried to resume. I tried it 3 times. It didn't work. I just screw it. I'm going to do this. So, Robert, shut up about okra. Breed. As you live so close to the lake, have you ever experienced straight line winds? I have experienced them, though not here. Okay. And the reason why is, and it's hard to explain. First off, you got to understand Norris Lake, the lake that I live on, is actually a man-made lake. It was made by the Tennessee Valley Authority back in the 1930s, 1940s, where they dammed up. I can't remember, there's like 18 or 20 dams or whatever, and they flooded a lot of the valley here. Okay, I mean, once they got everything dammed up, they were able to control the water. So this is a lot of fun to go watch some of the history on this area. But, there are towns that are underwater. Okay. They had to move a lot of the cemeteries before they did this, get them outside where the lake would be. But there are complete towns that are underwater that don't exist anymore. But again, where's water going to settle? The lowest area. Now, I'm on the side of a mountain, but around me is all mountains. So I'm kind of in a bowl here. So we don't really get straight line winds, because if you got stuff going over the top of the mountain, it's going to go. You kind of get those swirling winds that kind of dip in and come over. But no, we don't get the straight line winds here, and then because there's also so many trees around here, it's practically like living in a forest. There's a lot of barriers to break up the wind. So fortunately for us, we don't have that issue. New York budget prepper. I have a few gallons of sealed kerosene for my heater as it's 3 years old. I wonder if it'll still work. Kerosene should be fine. It's not like propane that's going to last forever, but kerosene will last a lot longer than gasoline. No, you should be fine with that kerosene, no problem. Then we get a whole bunch of no caps. Unless you guys just don't want to talk. Dave Moran, the cheat is on, but like me, do you believe it's not going to work this time? They're going to have to do it differently, because they know everybody and their mother is watching drop boxes. You're not going to hear any more of these stories on poll watchers where no, you have to stand back 100 feet away from the people counting the votes. No, these people are going to be on, flies on feces, watching people count ballots. They're going to come up with different ways to do it this time, and I think we've already seen the one Michigan has already come up with. They're figuring out the way to pre-fill out the ballots, and you're gonna get, remember the hanging chads from 2000. You'll get the ones, this person filled it in blue ink, not black ink or whatever, so therefore it's invalid. And again, it's another one of these, as I've said so many times, why is it so difficult for people to follow instructions? If it says fill it in with a number 2 pencil, do not use a red marker. Okay, there's a reason for that. But yeah, they're just going to come up with different ways to cheat, because the Democrats know they can't win a national election without cheating. Time and time again, that has been proven. And so it's just, they've now got to be, okay, who can cheat better? Charles Goki, thank you for the super chat. Let's pretend Special K wins the election. What do you think the U.S. will look like in 2026? So you're saying she's been in office for a year. I think we will see inflation completely out of control. I think we'd see gas prices probably pushing, in some places, $10 a gallon. We would certainly be in a war somewhere, because the rest of the world would see the United States as completely useless. We've had weak leaders before. Jimmy Carter comes to mind. Okay. There's nobody remotely close that's weaker than Kamala Harris. It was funny. Adam Schiff came out today and he's like, well, in this election, we have to be very careful about AI and all the deep fakes. And I'm like, dude, we don't need AI and deep fakes. You got the biggest fake, the biggest fraud is the nominee of your party. They don't need to fake anything. She's an idiot. You know, uh, I'm not going to say I don't think we'll make it to 2026, but I will say this: if she wins, you will see. Honestly, I don't think it matters at this point. I think the world as we know it is over in 6 weeks. Okay, because no matter who wins, there's going to be half the country that's going to be real pissed, and and it's going to be the same vernacular coming out of either side. If Trump wins, Kamala Harris's side is going to say that he's illegitimate. If Harris wins, all the Republicans are going to say they cheated, she's illegitimate. We've gone past getting along. I mean, there is no more reconciliation. It's time for a divorce. Okay. I mean, this is it. Honestly, and I know people hate when I say this, we need to break this country up. We need to break up into 4 or 5 different countries based on political ideology. If you're stuck on the wrong side, you live in, I don't know, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and you're a conservative, I tell you this, either you're going to go by the communist rule that's going to be that country, or you're going to move, And what's going to be really funny is if that happens, I would bet within a year you see the West Coast, New England, and the Great Lakes, Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Chicago, that country, begging for help. Because they're going to realize real quick, communism doesn't work when nobody wants to work. Laura Ann, do I think the bill to outlaw militias will pass, even though it seems it would be constitutional? There's so many things that I have said about this, not this particular issue. They can pass all the bills in the world or all the laws. You go through any state and look at the laws that are actually on the books. It's illegal to hunt elephants in Oklahoma. How many elephants are in Oklahoma? They're still spitting on sidewalk laws. There's still no fornication on Sunday laws. There's all sorts of crazy laws, right? Good luck enforcing them, right? It's like Kamala Harris's idea that she's going to go door to door and ban guns. Really? How do you plan on doing that? Your 87,000 IRS agents? How many houses are there in the United States? What do you have, a 50-year plan to go knock on every door? Because that's what it would take. It's insane, however many people you know. The bill to outlaw militias. Great. Well, we don't call ourselves a militia anymore. Now we call ourselves a friends group. We're not a militia. They can't define assault rifle. Hell, they can't define woman. How are they going to define a militia? 2 or more guys getting together who own guns? You might have a problem in a big portion of this country. Okay. Yeah, they can pass all the laws they want. The key that everybody has to remember is just because they can pass a law doesn't mean they can enforce it. That's it. And there's no way you can enforce that law because you got to define what a militia is. Guys getting together who own guns who are actually training? Oh, what, you mean people playing paintball or airsoft? Right? Okay. That's pretty much the same. Dale from Ohio. Whoops. I saw what the question was. What do I think the DOJ's something or other, however you phrased it, with releasing the Ryan Routh letter? To stoke that thought. They, again, as me and many other people, and a lot of you guys have said, they tried the impeachments, they tried the indictments, they tried to, sue him to oblivion. They tried to assassinate him. The DOJ is completely crooked. I mean, Merrick Garland, it still dumbfounds me that this guy was this close to being on the Supreme Court. And the guy's about the biggest legal idiot I've ever seen in my life. I mean, he is so corrupt. He makes Joe Biden look like a saint. But when you got a corrupt legal system, ask Mrs. P about the Soviet Union legal system and how straight, clean it was, right? Sure. Okay. That's globalism. That's communism. That's normal. Okay. Merrick Garland is a good little pinko. No problem. Why did he put it out? Because the Democrats are still trying to entice somebody out there to get a good shot off. And I mean, I've said it. You've said it. Many people. We all know there will be another attempt on Trump's life between now and November, and probably more afterwards. Okay. And the Democrats, the Department of Justice, released that letter to talk about that $150,000 bounty. I mean, somebody explain me this. A guy who can't pay his child support, a guy whose pickup truck looked like, it was bought from the local junkyard back in 1996. Where's he going to come up with 150 grand to pay a bounty, right? He didn't have it, but they released that because there's another moron. You got to remember this guy's son got arrested for child porn today. So we're talking upstanding American citizen here. But there are a lot of dumb, mentally challenged idiots on the left, just like this guy. And all they need is one to go, he couldn't get the job done, but I'm going to do it. That it was basically an advertisement is why they did it. Mr. Action 1, is the pond dry from not having any rain? It's way down. I'm looking forward to this hurricane rain because literally, you guys know I've shown you before. There's a couple of stumps that I put in the middle for housing. Those are completely dry all the way to the bottom. I've had water over the top of those stumps for a good portion of time. Those stumps are probably 2-3 feet high. They're sitting on dry land. There's still water in the deepest end of the pond, so there's still enough for the fish. They're okay, but I wouldn't doubt that the deepest end of the pond is 2.5 feet deep at this point. I mean, I'm worried about losing the fish. SW Preparedness, can you hot water bath stewed tomatoes? Some say pressure cooking method only. Pressure cooking method only, yes. Okay, yes, you got to do that. There's not enough acid in tomatoes to do it. Storm Jason Gal, thoughts on the longshoreman strike? How long without things? Go back and watch the video I did on that yesterday. I talked about the whole thing. So, Carolyn Robbins, I set out my broccoli and cabbage starts and the green worms found them, ate all the leaves, only left the stems. Will they survive? Maybe. Depends on how bad they got them. I don't know how big they were. I can't tell you that. Yeah, I mean, I'll say the same thing. With the caterpillar killer that I've mentioned many times, that stuff, because you're planning in hot, warm weather at least, you need to have that on there to keep them at bay. Yeah, it's kind of different planning in the fall. Planting in the spring is easy. The worms haven't come out yet, cabbage moths or anything. But now that you're going backwards, it's getting cooler instead of warmer. You need to almost do your preventative maintenance backwards. As it gets cooler, you won't need to worry about it as much. The worms will die off, or hibernate, or whatever they do. So, okay, talked about stations again. Jerry Smith, would I consider doing another solar generator for those of us who only want one for bare necessity? I don't understand what you mean. Consider doing another one. I mean, I've probably reviewed at least 30. So I mean that's more or less up to the companies. What if they come up with a new product and they want me to review it, if they've got a sale or something, they'll tell me about it and I'll let you guys know. I mean, there's some companies that I work with. There's some companies I don't. I mean, the good ones I work with. The ones that are junk don't last. Or you never see them. Jamie Dolan, internet and phone service issues for almost 3 days until today. Okay. I don't know if it's internet or phone service because, I'm taking a guess we're talking about me not being able to do the live stream off my phone because I tried it off of my Wi-Fi. It crashed. I tried it off of cell signal. It crashed. So it's not my house. It's not my cell phone signal. It's YouTube. And then somebody else said that Monkey Works had the same problem. Al Ford, okay, again, talking about not being able to get into websites. Yes, could not pay a credit card bill yesterday. Yeah. And again, this is where we talk all the time about how addicted we are to the internet. How many of you have seen videos where you get these millennials that don't know how to write a check? All right. I mean, you remember the days of paying your bills? You sat there with your checkbook and a stack of paper and a bunch of stamps, and you wrote a bunch of checks and you put them out in the mail. Now you don't do that. It's great. Hey, I don't have to buy stamps anymore, especially 70 cents a stamp. Okay. You're tap, 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 tap. My credit card bill's due today. As long as I get it in by 6 o'clock tonight, no problem. As opposed to, oh, my credit card bill's due on the 24th. I better mail it by the 20th. Otherwise, it's not going to get there on time. And I don't want a $35 late fee or whatever it is. Yeah, that's an issue because let's just say the internet does go down for 2 weeks. It's not like, I mean, even if we have an EMP, okay, you still owe your debt. They're still going to want you to pay it. And I mean, can you imagine that scenario where, let's say you have a mortgage and we have an EMP and there's no power. And a year later, somebody comes knocking on your door. You didn't make your mortgage payments. We're foreclosing on your house. You're like, how the hell was I supposed to get you my mortgage payment? We had no post office. We had no internet. They're like, it's not our problem. I mean, those are things that people need to think about. I mean, this is the downside, again, of globalism, but just away from doing business locally. How many of you have your mortgage with a local bank? Chances are it's with some major corporation that's you're mailing your mortgage check to Columbus, Ohio or something. Your car payment. Imagine you can't send in your check or you can't pay your car payment online, and all of a sudden a repo guy shows up and says, hey, you haven't made payments in 3 months. We're taking your car. How the hell was I supposed to get? I don't know. They got me a letter. I got it via Pony Express a week ago. Says, go pick up this car. It's like, well, it doesn't work anyway because we had an EMP. I don't care. I'm going to tow it with a horse. I mean, as silly as it is, those are things that we don't realize. It's like how addicted we are to the computer. I mean, we have an entire generation that, this is the only way they know how to communicate with people. Yaya Preeper. I tried accessing my bank 2 days ago. I called the bank and had to change my password. I called my bank today and they're like, we don't know what the problem is. Thanks. You're a big help. And that's when I said to Mrs. P, I'm like, and they wonder why they're not my primary bank. If I can't access my bank account, we have problems for exactly what was just said. If I need to pay my bills, your website better work. Oh God, we've got ads in this thing again. I'm not me, guys. Sorry. I remember I was able to stop it forever. Maybe it's because I'm on the computer and not on the phone. I don't know. Amanda Wilkerson, yes, very slow and aggravating. I've been getting maintenance notices. Okay, I don't understand the context of the question. Beautiful day. Most YouTube people's voices and the movement of their mouths are out of sync. That's obviously because of a poor connection somehow. Hopefully mine's looking okay. At least on my screen, I can see that it's in real time, but I don't know what you guys are seeing. Florida homesteading. Had a problem today with my car's GPS, and Google GPS drove me nuts. Ordered a local map for my area in Florida. Hey, that's okay. I mean, I love the car GPS. The car GPS doesn't even know my house exists. Okay. But which is fine. Google knows I'm here. But again, we don't know why. I mean, these could all be little tests. Let's see if we'll shut this down. Let's see how they work their way around it. I mean, they may be watching us to figure out what we do. Hey, YouTube may be going, well, let's see how many of our content creators are smart enough to figure out a different way to do videos if we can't do it on their phone or something. I hypothesizing here, that's not the right word, speculating. But yeah, who knows if there's people just playing around, seeing how the response is for doing little things. It's like anything else. We'll do this little thing and 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 this little thing, and all of a sudden it's a big thing. John Kiggin says Twitter's been running slow. Could be a DNS attack. I haven't been on Twitter in a couple hours, so I didn't. I mean, obviously, I'm not right now. Steve Sams, what ammo plant did Zelensky visit in Scranton? I don't know, but seeing him and Josh Shapiro in there signing bombs was kind of stupid. It's like, oh, isn't this nice? We, the taxpayers, are now paying to transport around Zelensky, who is not an ally. He was flying in a military plane with a C-140 or KC-17 or whatever the hell it was. I don't know. But, we're flying him around on our dollar. No, dude, go buy a coach seat on Delta if you want to come here. Ain't our freaking problem to pay. You're sucking us blind just when that guy keels over, I will be very happy. He's the biggest con artist ever. And every time he comes, Joe's like, how much do you need? I'll give you more. Just make sure that we can keep embezzling money through you. Lisa Preps, I could not get online with PNC Bank in Ohio yesterday morning. Okay, I'm not the only one. Jolly Roger, Virginia started early voting on September 20th. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. If Virginia is going to be an interesting state to watch, because every once in a while you hear Virginia's in play, then Virginia's not in play, then Virginia's in play again. It's kind of like New Hampshire. Virginia is going to be one of those states. I believe it's either a 7 o'clock or an 8 o'clock. It's either in the first wave or the second wave of states that shut down. If Virginia goes Trump, that'll tell you the way the rest of the country's going. Okay, that'll be so telling, because I think the last time Virginia went red was 2004, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, because who the hell wanted to vote for John Kerry? Dale from Ohio, regarding the SNL crisis, seems I remember something about the Keating Five had something to do with that, which John McCain was one of them. Yes, good memory. Plain and simple 2576. Why so many commercials? We had this problem 6 months ago where they were stuffing commercials in a live stream, and I don't see them because I'm just going on along, and they're popping in commercials. I was able to stop them And now I've got to figure out how to do it if I've got to do my live streams through the laptop now. So I'm not the one putting them in there. I'm not the one that puts any of the commercials in there. You think I'm going to say, hey, yeah, let's throw a bunch of Kamala Harris commercials in there. No. Okay. I don't have anything to do with the commercials, but I will see. Thank you for telling me. I will see if I can somehow get them stopped in a live stream, because that's putting commercials in a live stream pretty freaking stupid, because it's not like I know it's stand back for 2 and 2. No, I don't know when it is. So cutting me off in mid-sentence makes no sense. Kilo 2 Bravo, what are my thoughts on the recent spikes in precious metals? Do I think there's still a lot of upside between now and November 5th? How might a Trump victory impact these markets? Well, back on January 1st, I believe I said, when gold was about 1980, I believe I said expect to see gold above 2,400. Yeah, I think I got that one right. Then a few months ago, I made the comment on we got a good chance of seeing silver going over 35 by the end of the year. Silver was up 32-ish something today. Yeah. Would I still be buying gold and silver here? Yeah. All those people who didn't buy it 9 months ago, all I'm going to say is, told you so. Fat Daddy's outdoor cooking. Ever swam Lake Mead? No, but I boated it, so went out fishing in it. So that was it. Now, never once. I mean, at my age, swimming is okay. I'm gonna go sit out on a pool noodle and float in the water for a while. It's not like I'm out doing laps or something like that. It's now just go out to the lake and cool off. Barbara, how far from Clarksville, Tennessee are you? My one girl and son-in-law live there. Far enough that I don't even know where it is. How about that? So, yeah, I couldn't tell you where Clarksville is. Life is sweet. If I could pick any 2,000-watt solar generator intended to keep a freezer running, what would be the brand model would be your choice? That's not enough information, okay? Because you're going to have, I mean, I've shown you EcoFlow ones. I've shown you Opus ones. I think I've shown you Afri ones, Dabson ones. And every one of them has something different about them. You know, is it a fast charge system? Is it a slow charge system? What's the surge? How much solar input can it take? You know, is it UPS or not? There is no one size fits all. What's your budget? Okay. Somebody was asking me a similar question the other day, and I was talking, it was either a 2,000 or 2,400 watt generator. And I'm like, you look at these two. I said, there's a difference in price in them of $500. You know, lithium iron phosphate is lithium iron phosphate. It's a battery. Okay. What's the warranty? You know, there's a whole lot of things. I can't tell you one or the other. You got to figure that. I can show you what's out there. You got to figure out what's best for you. Scott McHugh, pinball. Silver's at 31 today. Bought mine at 21. Very happy and let it ride. Silver pull back at the end of the day. I looked at it mid-afternoon. It was at 32.06. Where did silver and gold finish today? I never even looked at the close. Silver closed at 32.09 bid. So yeah, up over, yeah. That's spot price. That's not futures. So, okay, there we go. Hiker Glenn, did you get hit hard tonight by the hail and heavy rain near you? We had some high winds and heavy rains just south of Knoxville. We had about 45 minutes of high winds and heavy rain, but we did not have anything in the way of hail or anything like that. So we needed the rain, but unfortunately, like I said, the ground is so freaking hard, this just all washed. I mean, I had puddles in my yard because the ground is so hard. Let's see. Florida homesteading. We had someone walk into our side door into our house Sunday afternoon. And how many holes do they have in them? Thank God our pit bull chased him out, took us by surprise. Can't even leave the doors unlocked during the day. Yeah. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, you don't, and here's the dumb part. Was the guy drunk? Was he stoned? Did he mistake your house for someone else? Was he an illegal that was there to rape you? Were they there to rob you? Whatever. Somebody walk in your front door, it's shoot first, ask questions later. You're not supposed to be here bang, bang. Hello, officer, I need you to pick up a body. That's it. Especially if you're down in Florida. Okay. Yeah. Florida's pretty friendly to protecting your home. He ain't supposed to be here. Good enough for me. Firewood from the mountains. Differently like losing the early conservative votes to the flooding. I got no idea what you're talking about. Okay. Frank, hi, Pinball. What are your thoughts on powdered butter for long-term storage? Thanks and have a good night. I have never heard of powdered butter. I can't see. I mean, what do you reconstitute it with milk? For long-term storage, make ghee. And there's dozens of videos on how to do it. Alaska Prepper's got a real good video. We got multiple videos on making ghee. Literally go to the store, buy butter, make the ghee, put it in a jar, stick it on the shelf. It'll be good for 10 years. So no problem. I'd rather have that than powdered butter. I can't imagine. You got to reconstitute it somehow. And then it's going to be a liquid. Maybe it's a paste. I don't know. But I can't think you reconstitute it with water. I don't know. Who's your daddy? What can people do if a Springfield, Ohio situation comes to our town? I live in a small town of less than 700. Well, at this point, you've already seen what happens. So as soon as this starts, this is when you get a meeting with the mayor, with the city council, with the county commissioners, however your hierarchy is set up, with the sheriff, with the police department, with the neighborhood or whatever, and go, this ain't happening here. We need to work together to get them out immediately. And if it comes to the point where it's like, all right, we're taking the school buses and we're putting all these people on school buses and we're shipping them to Martha's Vineyard, then that's what you do. Okay. Take them somewhere, take them to a sanctuary city. No, sorry. My little town is not a sanctuary city. We don't want them. You want them here, you deal with them. But that's the problem, is that Springfield didn't do anything. It's the problem in this entire country, is everybody talks and nobody does. And it's so frustrating because, as I've called many times, keyboard Rambos. Everybody wants to talk about stuff. Everybody wants to, and there's preppers out there that are the same. There's prepper channels that are out there the same. Oh, I know everything, blah, 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 blah. Oh, really? So I've got 6 cans of beans stocked. Congratulations. Okay. What do you know about gardening? What do you know about raising animals? What do you know about this? Well, what I've seen on the internet, do you do any of this? Oh, no, I just have a YouTube channel that talks about what I do, but I don't do it. There's a lot of that. People talk or don't do. Or you get the other side, people that watch YouTube videos and they've seen so many YouTube videos, but they don't do anything at home. Great. It's the same with the government. Oh, we're so offended. We can't do this. What did Mike Johnson say today? It would be dereliction of duty if they put the SAVE Act with the CR. No, you should. Dereliction of duty is passing the CR, even putting it up for a vote. Okay, there's your failing to do your job. So what are you going to have? And there's all these congressmen are like, oh, we're so appalled. Well, we'll write a strongly worded letter. No, you throw Mike Johnson out. I mean, as I said on Twitter yesterday, to the people of Louisiana, vote him out. He has failed to do the job for which he was elected. If it means, I mean, and I can't believe I said this, but if it means you vote for the Democrat in that congressional district, good. Mike Johnson's got no business being the Speaker of the House. None. Everything he ran on when they were trying to replace Kevin McCarthy, he's failed on. Everything. He lied. He's just as bad as Kamala Harris. He hasn't told the truth on anything. He swore up and down that there wouldn't be any more continuing resolutions, yet he keeps running them through. It's I'm not funding Ukraine unless we get funding for the border. Remind me how much funding for the border we got, because we just gave Ukraine another $375 million or $1 billion, I think it was. Something like that. Okay. No. Louisiana needs to vote Johnson out. We need a new speaker. 8:58. We got 2 minutes. Izzy Davis just asking, perhaps a silly question. Is it better to vote November 5th or vote early? Okay, I will say this right now. Early, in person. Do not send your ballot through the mail under any circumstances. Okay. And as I talked about a week or so ago, when the mail carriers union says we endorse Kamala Harris, you can guarantee if you live in a conservative area, there's going to be ballots that are going to mysteriously be found next summer in the river. Okay. No, in person. Okay. So you can make sure it's delivered. And go early. I mean, if we swamp them with early votes, and then Republicans, conservatives usually have a tendency to come out a lot more than Democrats do on election day. Well, if we can manage both, if we can beat them on early votes and then more of us come on election day, then it's over. People say, how many votes is Trump going to get? Trump better get at least 85 million, because they're going to figure out how to cheat to get Kamala Harris back to that 81 that Joe got. Again, remember, 156,000 votes cast on 139,000, or 156 million votes cast on 139 million registered voters. Never forget that. All right, that is 9 o'clock, so there's a hell of a way to end this. All right, guys, have a good Tuesday night. We'll see you in the morning. Pinball out.